including the approval of the previous meeting, December 2019, January 15th, 2020. What is the wishes of the council?
Second.
Okay, any questions, comments, or amendments to the motion? Okay, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll for the vote on the approval of the agenda, please?
Yes. Madam Mayor, Councilmember Justin Davis. Councilmember Sabrina Cox. Yes. Councilmember Steve Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Best. Councilmember Julie Burke.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Linda Combs.
Yes.
Mayor Linda DeVries.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. The next committee is request, and this meeting to close to so we have a presentation of our achievement award. The three nominees and the other two will be awarded theirs as tonight did not fit their schedule. So we received their awards in July, but we do have one here, and I'd like to call on the councilperson that nominated them, if she would like to say a few words first before we present the award.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Uh-huh.
So the weekend after you had told us to be on the lookout and think about people to nominate for the Golden Heart Award, I walked into the Palmer Train Depot for the wedding of Betty Pierce and Mike, and I was overwhelmed with the standing room only people that were there to see their wedding. I've always known that Betty's loved Palmer, but I was pretty overwhelmed with how much Palmer loved Betty. She's a lifetime born and raised here in Palmer, graduated from Palmer High School in 1979, has been cutting hair in Palmer here for 38 years. She did my hair for my wedding 20 years ago, and I know I'm not the only person on this council whose hair she does, and I'm probably definitely one of the younger people that has been 20 years is not a long time for some of her clients. So anyway, I think Betty is a wonderful woman. I'm proud to call her my friend, and I think Palmer is lucky to have her.
Thank you.
So as you graduate from high school with my son, right? So,
Scared me to death back then, but I like him now.
oh, good. Well, that's good that you do his wife's hair. So anyway, this is the award, and we just thank you, of course, for paying your sales tax all these years, paying our sales tax for this building. And Councilwoman Berwick has another presentation for you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Well, I just like to say just a few things that when Palmer has always supported me really well. And when I went through cancer by myself in 2007, Palmer rallied around and put together several benefits, made me feel not so alone. And just, then when I found Mike and we got married, just not like Julie said, Palmer rallied again around and just enjoy it in sadness. And this town is like that. It's just supportive and it's there for you regardless. So I'm very grateful and
Thank you.
to be and thankful to be born in Palmer.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a presentation from the Greater Palmer Chamber of Commerce Executive Director. Come forth, lady, please.
For you, no, because you're on the communication director request.
I've lived in Palmer for 12 years now, and Betty was one of the first people I met because I worked at Vagabond Blues. So she comes in. So Betty's been somebody that I've known in Palmer, and don't know she has. And thank you for everything that you do for our town. Yeah. To say because I'm really excited and get off track. So if you see, because I wanted to make sure I said what I wanted to say. So basically, just my gratitude and for the city and everything that you guys do for the town. And we're going to start coming to these meetings regularly because I really value the relationship that we have with the city. Chamber and the city are two entities that work together for the betterment of our community. So we appreciate the city's ongoing support of the Chamber of Commerce and our mission. A clean town with safe streets, great clean drinking water, and a business-friendly climate is a huge draw for businesses and residents alike. I want to spend a few minutes to discuss the economic impact of the Chamber events that the Chamber has on our city. To ask if they would give me feedback and on the whole and how those events affect their business. As you guys know, we're now doing Friday Flip and Christmas and Small Business Saturday Shop Palmer and Taste Palmer. So we're doing so to get some feedback on those events from our business members. This Saturday, at least 3 businesses reported to me that Saturday is the sales day for them of the year, which is and different seasonal things happen one year near the end of the year. And that small business Saturday the last few years by becoming a neighborhood champion through American Express. But businesses, and here that is the biggest day that means a lot. We continue to enhance and support this event because of the stories, and we greatly appreciate the count that you guys gave us in November to help cost of advertising and marketing that event. Everything that went directly to support the event. We could timer somewhere, Norma? Okay. So businesses chip in and all that money goes towards advertising and prize money. This year we had 22 businesses participate. We had 16 last year, so we had 6 more this year than we did last year. And the program was only 3 weeks. So we started on Saturday and run it through December 20th to give somebody $1,000 right before Christmas for all those last-minute shoppers. In that 3-week period, we were able to track that people spent $277,000 in 22 businesses in Palmer. That's money. And that's more than last year. And we had 16 businesses over a 5-week period. So it was a little bit longer last year, short this year, more participants, and $277,000. And that's all we can track, right? Justin, he said he had 4 at his house. So, there's another couple $100. Saunders, my board, and who's also on our board. They are here to support. And Ann Thomas is back there as well. I think that's it. Yes. Okay. So we were to give $1,500 in prize money, which is pretty fantastic. And if you have watched the Facebook Live video that we did when we gave away the $1,000, it's worth the 12 minutes that it took to convince you and cringe and cry, all of those things. So Christmas, and this is where our city really shines. To the City of Palmer Public Works Department, they always do a fantastic job. And Gage Tree Service, we pay for lights too that our sponsors help us offset the cost of, and we bring in thousands of people to our town for that event. We've maybe ever had for a Christmas parade, which is saying something because the weather never cooperates. So I think, for the Colony Christmas Parade, which is just really saying something. The shops were packed. That's a great day for our businesses as well. More businesses get busier during Christmas and Colony days because the weather helps push people inside usually. So those businesses, as I said, small business was their biggest day. Colony Christmas is their second or third biggest day of the year. So that's also saying something. South Central come to Palmer for our events. People know they can come to Palmer for a great event, but also for great shopping, incredible views, and a good meal. So we're excited to be taking on the lead of Frank Fling and the Palmer Midsummer Garden Art Fair this year. As one of our members put it, he said, every event that is being supported or run by our chamber has created a persona for the city of Palmer. It is because of these events that Palmer has become a destination. And we truly believe that. We believe that people want to come here because they can park and walk and enjoy the entire town without having to get lost or feel unsafe or anything like that. We love our community and we love our businesses, and we'll continue to develop programs to draw businesses to Palmer and support our members however we can so we as a community can thrive. So I just wanted to say thank you to the City of Palmer for everything that you do, for your partnership, your sponsorship. I reach out to Nate with questions, comments, things, and he's quick to respond, always helpful. And we look forward to another wonderful year in the best city in Alaska. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
The next item on our agenda is reports, and the first report will be from the city manager.
So effective 2020, we're no longer funding Chamber of Commerce just because they're doing so well. No, it's a great partnership. I don't report tonight, but I do want to update the council based on our discussions from the budget season. We have an economic analysis for the folks that surf our webpage for they can Paul's doing behind this is annexation strategy, planning, and economic development analysis so that we can understand the playing field and come up with a plan. It also has a point in there for up to 9 public meetings. Not public meetings, but public meetings where we get input from the public on the economic analysis, on what size Palmer needs to be in 2, 3, 5, 20 years. So for the folks that are with annexation, do have an opportunity to get input early as opposed to here we're happening. So don't panic, don't get your pitchforks yet, participate, and I think we'll have a good thing going forward. That closes March 6th, and then we should have it to the council by the last meeting in March or the first meeting in April for review and approval to award a contract to a consultant.
Okay, good.
Other than that, police chief has a radio with his first time. First chief, I think he's been on it before. And then that's followed by, I believe, the museum director, and then I've got it the first week of April.
Okay. Any questions, comments on the city manager's report? Anything he reported or questions you may have? Yeah, Councilman Carrington?
Since I heard the word strategy, I was just wondering how we're doing on the strategic planning, meeting
council?
planning, for the council.
For the councils? I don't know how we.
Once I get a date, then I will solicit proposals and we'll provide those to the council, but I don't have a date just yet.
Okay. Councilwoman Sabrina Combs?
Are you waiting on response from the council, or is it just something that you're doing, or do we need to
I know there were,
respond to an email, so I just want to know what you're waiting on.
I'm waiting on a date from council.
okay, so, has all the council responded with their availability and their unavailability? Okay, what about council members online? Have you responded to the request from the city manager and the clerk? Councilman Best?
is to have all of council physically there.
Okay, and when is the session legally supposed to adjourn?
To the court yet to determine, you know, and then go to the 20 days, and then they can extend after that by additional 10, I believe. And then they can be called into special session. So,
So when would 130 days be, sir? You know, would be in April sometime, right? Or does that take us into the 1st of May?
yeah, I need the 1st of May.
1st of May, okay. Okay, all right. Alrighty,
I apologize.
that's okay, thank you, sir. Any other comments, or? I know we didn't want to try to go that far, but.
Madam Mayor, is there any chance that, I know we want to have everybody here, but since one of our council members is also serving in the legislature, it seems to somewhat be interfering with council business. Is there any way that we could maybe do it without him so that we can actually get going on that? Is available and doesn't know when he will be available, maybe doing it without him.
The city, wanting to hold the city in if you can just the that was there. I think it you know, whether I get to participate, but I agree with the councilwoman that
So, Madam Clerk, what is the last Saturday in April?
The 3 remaining dates without conflict we have left, one is in March, so that one we're taking out, because there's spring break as well.
Right.
So the 2 remaining are April 18th and April 25th.
Okay. So if we made it April 25th, that would be probably as much, was there anybody that couldn't make it on April 25th?
As I heard from everyone, except one heard, April 25th worked for everyone.
Okay, alrighty. Yeah, go ahead, Councilwoman Rowland. Okay, okay, alrighty, and so, yeah, do that, when it's convenient for you and report it to the clerk. And, maybe until we hear from that, we tentatively say, April 25th. So, is that okay? Okay, and if anybody else discovers that is not going to be so, and thank you for you online for your input, okay? So that's where we are, sir. All right. City clerk's report, Madam Clerk.
That's my report, actually. To try to have that date, let you know who I had all heard from, so we're good to go as that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any questions of the city clerk regarding her report, or any questions to her regarding any item of interest? Okay. So, you have one, David, Hughes will be in town this grill at 8 o'clock for anyone in the council and or the community that would like to meet with her. And on report my presentation to the court, and that's Amanda Juana said specifically asked about showing them the video Invest in Palmer, because he had been at another meeting where I had presented that, and it was very well received also at the Kiwanis. So thank you again to the city manager and the departments that put that together. I think that's being well received by many people. So, any questions, comments on my report? Okay.
None tonight, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience is welcome to address the council. To present yourself if you're representing a group, and you can regarding an item that's on the agenda or any item that you think that council should be aware of. So I open audience participation. We do have a sign-in sheet, and if you haven't signed in but want to testify, go ahead and testify, and then you can sign in later. So, okay.
Okay, good gentlemen. I put a presentation in for you guys. This is Leo. This came. Okay. So, I'm here to kind of talk about what it is that we do. To do so, we located the third victim of a triple homicide, and the we were deployed into Gotham to search for a missing element. Unfortunately, we didn't locate him, but we did locate potential past locations. Throughout December and January, we provided medical and evacuation support for 5 ski races up the government peak recreational area. This we were able to eliminate the need for EMS support up there, and we supported 50 to 250 race participants at each race, and then plus the spectators. We actually conducted a location in Palmer, where we trained 7 FB EMS first responders, 1 EMS, 1 site coordinator, and 4 members. And then did a basic course with HBAC at Trials Outreach Centre this month. And then we have joint trainings with emergency services, which include a Butte fire and to locate and evacuate hikers from the Butte hiking trails at Jim Creek and surrounding areas. A state workshop taking place in Hatchet Park. Canine operators are also running a national avalanche surf test in Oregon, and they're being called down there to do that. Training workshops coming up in May. In June, we'll be doing the walk and run for animals, which benefits the Malibu shelter. We're also providing, again, medical and evacuation support for the mountain race series in the government peak climb. Okay. Thank you very much.
Make sure he signs it too, we cough.
Okay. I live East Briarweed Avenue, downtown Palmer. If you look at your screen, the big if you'll scroll
So, and to if for to anything through the by going to that site.
And I'm not a city resident. However, I have some information for you that I think you might like. As you know, I run a for Alaska Buzz social media platform, which seems to be ridiculously in terms of about different things. So I decided to do this week was to find something about politics, because what I was focused on, some things that people agree with, and I was asking for three things. Three things that we can agree on. Three that we can agree on. That everybody agrees with. We're talking about social media, which is of course different than the consensus of you guys. The for that social media website, social media site, it's just it's over the top of the participation with community Facebook pages and so on. The site that will agree this week's newspaper. It was that important that it's basically, which is a list to with, but you guys talk about here, and you guys, you've heard them so much. It's the water, it's the city manager, it's the council, it's the way police treat the citizenry, it's the dogs walking down the street, it's the sandwich, it's the thing you can predict. Absolutely none of these is original. I just want to let you know, Paul's in good shape. And see, I didn't go over.
Good job, Emily. Anyone else like to address the council?
I
the people in Palmer can't all agree with, because when I left to go into Palmer to work every day instead of right to Anchorage, which is what I used to do, I can think of many, starting with the beautiful mountains that I get to look at. So I quickly on for groups, me personally, is making himself available to larger groups. He spoke at the Palmer Chamber, which, by the way, should be another thing that people could on, which is the good work that the Palmer Chamber is doing. But the Palmer Chamber spoke at the club meeting, and there were about 15 people there, and I was invited just to speak and have a discussion. And so I want to just let you know that if you have any group and you're interested in having me come and speak or answer questions or take comment or feedback, I am more than happy to do that. So please feel free to reach out. I have been trying to get to the senior center, both Wessel and Palmer, as much as I can, as well as any other group who invite me. So please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to come by and speak to your group. So thank you very much, and have a good night.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. Anyone else that would like to address the council? Okay, seeing no one else, I will close audience participation. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing on ordinance number 20-001, amending the Palmer Municipal Code Section 528 relating to itinerant vendors. What it is, does the council want a staff report or ready to go to public hearing? What's your wishes?
A staff report, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So tonight we have, it's been almost a year, maybe a little more than a year since we passed a ordinance that changed from roving vendors to itinerant vendors. So we basically had a season of events and things like that for itinerant vendors, and we've come to the conclusion that we needed to make some adjustments and modifications so that, one, administratively it's makes sense and is fair, and then two, to better define some of the things. So if you'll turn to page 155 in your packet, the first item is special event. So we had something called a special event, but we actually called out specific organizations, Palmer Economic Development Authority, Chamber of Commerce, Museum of History and Art. Well, that excludes everybody else. So we just left it with a special event organizer. And if you turn the page, there's the definition of an organizer on page 156, which is provide a definition for who we would consider organizing an event. You move on down to .015, the purpose. We just add licensing and permit requirements because we want to make sure people follow all our permit requirements. If you're going to encroach on a sidewalk, or if you're a business license, you're not going to have a business license to do this. Make sure that we identify that piece. When we just to add a special event as part of that, because we do recognize that a special event, so you don't have to have an itinerant vendor permit if you're part of a recognized special event. So it just clarifies it there in that paragraph. And then also the special event as authorized by the city manager, so that we have, somebody can recognize what the things are, as opposed to having to wait up to a month to get to council or the board. And this is the suspension or revocation of a permit. It was just community development could revoke a permit for any of the reasons listed in the next paragraphs. Well, we didn't have if he does that, there's no redress, there's no point of having, a hearing or anything. So it's in the business license process, and then and then made sure it fit with itinerant vendors. I mean, took out business license and replaced it with itinerant vendor. And then we also cleaned it up a little bit so it made sense for this paragraph. So the next one is permit suspension. Hearing, those are all mirror what's done for business license. Appeals to the court, that's just like business license. So the process we already have in place for a related permit or license. And then make that easier and make more sense for some of the vendors. For it really comes down to, we thought it was more appropriate just for food and beverage vendors in paragraph 28.100. So we strike goods and services, and then we also, an event organizer can have umbrella insurance for all their itinerant vendors. So we have that piece to make it a little easier, more sense, more business friendly. And then the final piece is the last paragraph where you have to notify the city if your insurance is canceled. Some of these events are, one-time deals. Do we really want to pursue somebody that has one event, they provide their insurance, and 6 months later, shame on you, you haven't provided, you didn't tell us that you canceled it or you ended it. So that we felt was not necessary, so we removed that as well. So that's in a nutshell what we tried to do with this ordinance revision.
Okay. Any questions on the staff report before we open the public hearing? Oh, thank you. Let me do it again because it won't be on the, because my mic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yep, let's do it.
Thank you, sir. Ordinance number 20. Anyone in the audience is welcome to address the council. 3 minutes if you're representing yourself, 5 minutes if you're representing a group. The testimony at this time will only be on ordinance 20-001.
Just really quick. In the chamber taking these changes, hopefully retired folks, they're single moms, they're people that this is how they make a little bit of extra money to help with things. So even if the IEP was $50 or whatever it was, but the insurance and everything, it was to a lot of people. So when we have been telling people that they don't have to have it, for the fling or for the Garden Art Fair or anything, they're very relieved and grateful because, like I said, it's just another cost for them. And I understand that they're not a brick and mortar and the costs are less, but they do appreciate that it's a little bit more money that gets to stay in their pocket, hopefully. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Does the council have any objections to me closing the public hearing? Okay, so public hearing on ordinance 20-001 is now being closed. What is the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance number 20-001. Any discussion, amendments to the motion? Councilwoman Sabrina Combs?
Thank you. I just have a comment, and that was just that I'm grateful for these changes. I spoke with a lot of the vendors that were concerned after the initial ordinance went through, and this seems to address almost all of those issues. I think it's important to make sure that our brick and mortar businesses maintain economic health, but also knowing that these vendors bring more people into town, especially at some of our fun events. So I think this is really great. Thanks.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Combs?
Thank you. I just wanted to point out, this is the way it works. This is the way the process works. And excellent job by staff, I believe, to take a document that's, things are going to change. Things have to be somewhat fluid, have to be responsive. And I agree with Councilwoman Sabrina Combs. That's exactly what's happened, is we've been responsive. to the individuals that this impact, and, a good job. Thank you.
Further questions or comments? Any comments from council members online? Okay, seeing none, then Madam Clerk, would you take the roll on the vote for, and then to pass or adopt ordinance number 20-001?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Jill Valerius? Councilmember Sabrina Combs?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Best? Councilmember Julie Burbrey? Yes. Deputy Mayor Linda Combs?
Yes.
Mayor Edna DeVries?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing on Resolution 19-005-B, amending the 2019 City of Palmer budget for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. Does the council want to have a staff report before we open the public hearing?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, if this is approved, we'll be able to start production of our 2020 budget book. It's coming to you relatively early, I think. When you look at our time cycle, we can't close out our budget for 2019 until after sales tax is reported, and they have until January 31st to do that for December. So here we are 10, 11 days after that fact. So the numbers haven't changed drastically, even though this was put together 2 weeks ago. When you look at the total, this is increasing, and the total amount of expenditures that this is increasing, that the top number is higher than the bottom number, and that's a good thing. The projected, this modification is almost $3.3 million in our unassigned reserve, which is probably a little higher than I think we projected during the budget session. I'm not going to go over it. You can do that, or should have already done that. I'm not going to go over the whereases, but I will highlight some things starting on page 166. I think it's 166. No, 165, I'm sorry. So when you look at the spreadsheet or the tables in this, the proposed is what you're actually changing to come up with the final number called amended 2019 budget, which is the last column. So you add current, proposed, and you come up with the amended. But if it's in parentheses, it means it's going down for revenues, and if it's not in parentheses, it means it's going up. So you and building permits and how we've been talking about the investment in Palmer, that is reflected here with well over $160,000 in additional revenue at the end of the year. In parentheses has gone down. But we didn't adjust it at mid-year because we didn't get we hadn't gotten our aid by then. Those are a little less, but that's drastic. 10%. If I do my math right. But when that's a significant number when it's gone up $60,000. And what we're doing is that we're reinvesting, or we've moved funds into AML, JIA, joint investment, which we're seeing a lot higher return on that than we had with some of our other investments. So we weren't earning as much as we could have. And looking, always watching the market and what's going on, it was a wise move to move that money there. So kudos to our finance director for doing that. Now we're talking about is the number for benefits going down. They're going up is on behalf. That happens every year. You just don't know what that number is until this time of year. So at the finance department, you see 0 to 262,000. The others really aren't much. When you look on the next page, the big to look there at the bottom for the airport fund for revenues transfer funds, that's 69. That transfer we project under $100,000 for our transfer into the airport. So there's lots of good going on there. It's not all because we're accounting for 6 tax now. So, you know, the city was the same tax, it just wasn't on the airport. The fuel impact of that. So, if there is one anywhere. In our down. And expenditures for equipment and CIP. From other perspectives, the general to the golf course, and that's how we handled our accounts. So we're going to give money to the golf course. That way we keep it in the general fund, but we've allocated that money in 2020 to go back to the golf course. So to make sure that the money's in the general fund as opposed to just hanging out in the golf course fund at the end of the year. So unless there's any questions, that's it in a nutshell.
Any further questions on staff report before I open the public hearing? Okay, so we open the public hearing on resolution 19.
Councilmember Jill Valerius?
Yeah.
Councilmember Sonia Combs? Yes. Councilmember
There's 2002, approved council grant in the amount of $1,650 to the Mat Search and Rescue for the year 2020. What is the wishes of the council?
To approve.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve action memorandum 20-012. Discussion from the council to the motion. Okay, Councilman Carrington had his line. Do you mind if I recognize him? Okay, Councilman Carrington?
With this is here, and we didn't have the council, the community grants, and it was just people brave enough to come to the council and ask for money is what we did. And you know, hey, maybe we should come up with a grant program, but design it, so we gave it to the bed. The really good use. This is the guidelines that were written into the thing for us to be involved with, you know, is in helping with first responders in the area, as well as our interest in looking towards Hatcher Pass and maybe working in that way. So I'm in support of this.
Councilman Richard Best?
Individuals lost up in the pass heading down to Kenai and Avalanche snow machining, and those efforts are not taken lightly. This is a volunteer group, and I really appreciate them. You know, they're for the grace of God, go I in these situations where we want to not have to have it, but you want to have it. So I'm in support of this.
Thank you. I'm also supported. And again would point out that this is the process.
And again, thank you to the city manager who was directed to work with Matsar and to get this request resubmitted so that we would have this opportunity. I appreciate the work that was done on it. It was done very well. And it didn't hurt to bring Leo, so thank you.
Any other comments from the council? Okay, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and get the vote? The motion before the council is to approve action memorandum number 20-012. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Councilmember Jill Valerius? Councilmember Sabrina Combs?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Bast? Councilmember Julie Burbrick?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Linda Combs?
Yes.
Mayor Edna DeVries?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. The next item on our agenda under new business is action memorandum 20-013, authorizing the city manager to enter into a 2-year agreement to purchase health care insurance coverage with Premier through the city's health care insurance broker, USI Insurance Services. What is the wishes of the council? Second. Okay, the motion before us is to approve action memorandum number 20-013. Questions, comments, amendments by the council? Okay, Madam Clerk, would you ask the council for their vote on action memorandum number 20-013?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Oh, did you want, oh, sure. Oh, sure. Okay.
On the total funds listed, but on the summary, there's a number about halfway down, it says the end result is estimated savings of $365,000. That was based on the actual RFP, but during negotiations and the discussions and the options that were available, we added some things that we thought were appropriate for our healthcare. So the actual savings, when all is said and done, is $205,563.
Okay.
So the number on the front is accurate, but the math was based on the original proposal. So it's still a savings. It still has the HRA, which we don't have now, which is city funded. So it's the bottom line number is the same. I just want to make sure to correct that number.
Okay, thank you, sir, very much. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you go ahead then, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Jill Valerius? Councilmember Sabrina Combs?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Bast? Councilmember Julie Burbrick?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Linda Combs?
Yes.
Mayor Edna DeVries?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is record of items placed on the table. Madam Clerk?
We don't have any this evening.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is audience participation. Anyone is welcome to address the council on any subject, whether it was on the agenda or not. 3 minutes if you're representing yourself and 5 minutes if you're representing a group. Audience participation is now open. Yeah, I need to turn the mic on there, sir. Thank you. Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, Officer Barker, just a quick question. You mentioned Senator Hughes. Was that AM or PM? You said 8 o'clock.
AM. Yeah, at the sunrise, yes. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We'll close audience participation. Council comments? Councilman Carrington, we'll start with you this evening.
I just think we should have Leo come more often.
Well, I don't think the city of Palmer has a mascot or anything. I mean, we have Palmer Moose, right? I guess he could be a Palmer Moose dog or something. Councilwoman Burbrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to comment that I'm grateful that we were able to come to a solution to help Matsar with their needs. I think that it's a good thing. I have the pleasure of volunteering at the High School Region 3 cross-country ski races last weekend. And so I got to see them at work, and I also participated in the Matsu Ski for women and also got to see them work there. I also want to point out that Palmer won the regions, and they also took first and second place for the boys and first and second place for the girls. So Palmer's really doing fantastic, and state is in 2 weeks, so keep your eye out for a young gentleman named Joseph Walling. He's a very, very good skier, so it was exciting.
Good, great.
Yep.
It's been a real pleasure seeing that happen. Whether you were officially part of events, you always were part of the events. So, and I know that, and I really appreciate that because it's done a great deal for the community. So, 42 floats at Christmas. Wow. I remember the first year we did a colony Christmas parade. Wasn't 42. And I'd like to comment on, thank you so much for everything that you do for Palmer, to highlight Palmer. The Palmer Alaska Buzz is just a tremendous asset to our community. It's I steer people in that direction all the time. Oh, you really want to know something about Palmer? Well, you got to meet this lady and you've got to read what she writes. So really do. If you want to do, if you don't have anything else going on today, they'll be doing fun and silly things at the Palmer Senior Center. We'll report this. Yesterday at a board meeting, it was brought to our attention that it was really, really important to not have two names because it was the Matsu Senior Services Center doing business as Palmer Senior Citizens, services or something like that. So, and that was almost a contentious discussion because there was a few of us, say Joe Eamon, myself, a few of us that we just couldn't see. It was tearing our hearts to take the word Palmer out of that title. So, our compromise was we're going to name the building the Palmer Senior Citizens Center, but the official name for all contracts. And a lot of funding sponsors were getting a little unhappy about the two names, so they'll be happy now. So we'll, as Matsu Services, and then the rest of us can just keep calling it Palmer Senior Center as far as I'm concerned. So, if you, like I said, if you don't do anything else, they're going to be doing some fun and silly things during their congregate meals on Friday, and it'll be a good time for Valentine's. Thank you.
Councilwoman Serena Combs.
Thank you. As the person that organizes and MCs the parade, while I was really excited to have 42 floats, it was the most miserable weather possible. Than I normally do, so I appreciate it. Thank you to AH and the Palmer Chamber. Got me involved in Palmer and everything that I love about Palmer so many years ago, and they're just done an amazing job. And if you don't know, they have one of the most active board directors. When you go to the events, the board directors are there, and they're running the events, they're planning the events, along with their executive directors. So I think $277,000 in just a few short weeks is just an amazing thing. So I appreciate that you have started. I would love to hear an update when Taste Palmer members come back as well. That is just focusing on Palmer restaurants, and that's in March. So that's a great time that we can support businesses. It's usually a slower time of year. So thank you for championing those events. Attending the Hatcher Pass Outreach Center fundraiser on Saturday at the Moose, and I haven't seen a crowd at the Moose Lodge in quite some time. It was just a really amazing event, and I just want to thank anyone that supported it. And I'm looking at, I don't think anyone, including myself, is wearing orange, but it is Dating Violence Awareness Month. Hosting it on February 26th. The mayor had it on her report. I also highlight that is at the Glen Massey, and it is an event for our teams and our community and showing respect for each other. So that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Valerius, do you have some comments? Councilman Richard Best, do you have some comments, sir?
The city of Palmer owns some. And what I'd like to ask is for council support for maybe in the next 3 months or so for the manager to kind of inform council of how many lights, and maybe there's a map that indicates the utility aspect of who owns what lights, what street lights, whether it be the city, MEA, the borough, the state, that are in our city limits, and what options might there be, and also kind of give a brief overview of how those lights get paid for, be it the city, with the city owning it, and how we ascertain the value of them, and how we do repairs on them, how we pay for the lights themselves, and or entities, how they are paying for these items, and what options that we might have to go forward, and if there's any suggestion that the manager might have. So I'd like to ask for council support to direct the city manager at some time in the next 3 months to call together something like that.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I would support that, and wearing my MEA hat, I'd be happy to do the same for the MEA's behalf. We can make that a joint report.
Okay, good, thank you. Yeah, I know that we've, at our neighborhood watch program, a meeting, that was one of the questions, and they felt, on the citizen side, they felt like they were being battered back and forth, and they, felt like that nobody was responsive, and so, it's something we need to know. Yeah, that's for sure. Alrighty, so the next item on our agenda is executive session, so I will need a motion from the council to go into that executive session, and then we will take a 15-minute break while we clean the room, because in the executive session, only will be council members and the city clerk, and I think the city attorney for just,
No, not the attorney or manager, just me.
Just you,
Yeah,
okay.
no, the
I didn't know if you
attorney
wanted.
records request. That's
Okay.
what we're talking about.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted either one of them present? No, okay.
Okay, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I move that we move into an executive session with subjects that tend to prejudice the reputation and character of any person, and note that action may be taken following the executive session.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any amendments, questions, or comments on the motion?
Madam Mayor, I just have a question.
Sure.
So, is that the members on the phone will not be on the phone.
Right.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Thank you.
Okay. So if you want to go ahead and take the roll.
Okay.
Yes, for the movement of us going into executive session in 15 minutes after a break.
Okay. Councilmember Jill Valerius. Councilmember Sabrina Combs.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Best. Councilmember Julie Burbrick.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Linda Combs.
Yes.
Mayor Edna DeVries.
Yes. Okay, Councilman Best, were you trying to say something or? Okay, I'm sorry. Would you like to talk about it now?
And again, refresh my memory for the record, the subject that is to be talked about is unstated.
Well, it does say, I don't think it was in the motion, but on our paper, it says the character of any person dash city clerk. So was that your question, sir?
I was wanting it stated for the record of what it was, because it was in the paper copy, and that's what I remembered in my packet, but I didn't hear it verbally, and because we have folks that are participating, watching it, listening to it on the radio, I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, alrighty, so what should we do? Should we restate the motion with those words in it, and then we could revote?
Objection, well, just see if anyone has any objection to the vote that they stated under the motion as it was. The motion was subject to intent to prejudice the reputation and character of any clerk or any person. And so it was not stated that it's the city clerk.
Right.
So you can ask if anyone has any objection to move forward, or we can read.
Okay, I think I'm gonna ask for a new motion and a new second, and then we'll revote, so.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I'd like to restate the motion.
Yes, go ahead.
I move that the city council moves into executive session discussing subjects that tend to prejudice the reputation and character of any person, city clerk being noted, and action may be taken following the executive session.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that, for that clarification, and why don't we go ahead and take a second roll?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Should we take action after the executive session? Will we be getting Dr. Valerius and Councilman Best on the phone for that, since it will be out of executive session?
We probably should reach out to them if we're, yes.
Thank you.
So do both of you online hear that? Then the clerk will reach out to you if we do decide to take some action, and after we come out of executive session, will both of you be available? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, now if you go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember Jill Valerius. Councilmember Sabrina Combs. Councilmember Steve Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Best. Councilmember Julie Burbrick.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Linda Combs.
Yes.
Mayor Edna DeVries.
Yes.
So, Madam Mayor, if I may
Yeah.
also clarify that reaching out, what I will do is send them an email or text letting them know when we have
When we're coming back
exited the
in.
executive session and started the regular session. So they'll have that. I will call back in to the conference line so that they can call into the conference line. Or we'll reconnect that way.
Okay, so both of you online understand? Okay, good, thank you. So with that, we'll have a 15-minute